OTBH. We talked about patriarchs and all the things involved with it. My name is Cedric. Joining with me today, as usual, is Chris, Zach, and William. How's everybody doing?
Good. I think it's January 84th. I think we're at that part of the month of January.
Yeah.
So
it's been a month.
You know what's even worse is that this year's a leap year, so we get an extra day in February.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's the thing.
It's tough.
We'll be feeling it when we get to February, when we ain't had a break in a while. I mean, we had a break, but it wasn't really a break because it was NTI.
Well, from what they're saying,
stop. No.
Yeah,
No.
somewhere February, March is another chance of some big stuff.
No.
So
the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie.
I do wish, though, that our longer extended break would have been in February or March, like when we kind of needed one, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Because we just came off of like Christmas break and we go a week and then off for another week.
Yeah, I don't know. You get in a routine just to break it, and I know teaching middle school routine get lowered is huge.
Man.
It's a thing.
We have already hit the wall and it's only January, so we're trying to break through some of that stuff.
We ain't got time for the wall. All right. So today we're gonna kind of go over the interview that DCI conducted with Dan Potter and the new Chief Executive Officer, Nate Boudreaux.
Boudreaux.
I like Boudreaux too. Just that extra R in there. Anyway, and Dan Potter got to know him a little bit, and you can find a YouTube version of that interview on the DCI page.
We'll also post a link in our description.
Yeah, we can do
that.
You just look for Q&A new DCI Chief Executive, and you'll find that with Dan Potter looking fairly casual today during that interview.
He looked like he just got back from the spa. With the beard and everything, man.
Yeah.
Like he was.
Yeah, he's been enjoying his winter break.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And he kind of, I think for me, you kind of got a bit of what Nate's new CEO's thought process is about what he kind of wants to do with DCI. Because I know a lot of people were concerned, or DCI fans, I would say, are a little bit concerned about him not having any true drum corps background and what he can do. And I think he also addressed a few things about, traditions. He talked about tradition and those real changes that kind of led to that. And I think he made it pretty clear, like, I don't have anything to do with that. The people who are running the organizations themselves are the ones that make those decisions. And he was like, that's the way that it should be.
I think it's interesting. One of the things he was talking about was on that effect of, I think Dan Potter asked him something to the effect of, what big changes he talked about the traditional whatever. And are we going to see some, changes? And he literally says, that's not my job. If we're changing the rules, that's the rules committee. That's, I'm just here to, push the organization, whatever. And he mentions, he used to, where he comes from, if you don't know, we talked about this, I don't know what episode it was, whenever that happened. But he was the CEO for USA Water Ski organization. So like anything they do water ski based stuff, he was like the CEO of that. But, he talked about, and that too, he just, that wasn't my job. If they want to change the rules, that we have a rule committee for that, or, all that kind of stuff, which I think is good. I I don't know how much Dan Atchison, like how much involved he was with that, because he was, part of drum corps and, did that stuff. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's a good thing, is that he's not trying to be the guy, coming in being like, I know everything there is to know about DCI. Like he's like, no, I don't know about that. So I'm going to let them deal with that stuff, I
Yeah.
think, which is a good approach.
And I think that kind of goes to like one of the first things he said in the interview was, sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. Like someone who's involved in the activity only sees the same issues that are happening and doesn't see the other things that are causing those issues that, maybe someone from outside the activity might see. And, just with his experience in like marketing and things like that, I really do think he's coming in with more of a like financial sustainability view than anything else. Like he acknowledges that he's not super familiar with the activity, but he's meeting everybody, he's learning who everybody is and what they're known for, and he's kind of started watching some videos and getting to interview staff members and core directors. And then he said he was really looking forward to meeting with the drum majors in the coming days and things like that. So he's involving himself and getting to know, just he's kind of dipping his toes in and getting acclimated. But as far as what I think his role is truly there for is to help keep this activity afloat economically. I really do.
Yeah. He mentions that in his, like, that very first segment. Um,
Hmm.
and he's talking about, Potter asked about advantages, disadvantages, where Zach's getting that force through the trees thing. But uh, he talks about what the activity is going to be in 3, 5, 10 years. Which, as a CEO or as a company, that's what you got to have mindset is: what are we going to be in 3 years? So short impact, minimum impact, long term impact. And he literally says it's going to have to involve. This is a quote. It's just going to have to involve, just from an economic standpoint, from a sustainability standpoint. The drum corps experience you see today is going to be different in 3, 5, 10 years. End quote there. So I mean, I think we mentioned that on our episode, whenever that was, that I think the main thing he is here to do is to make sure DCI makes it through some thin situations when it comes to financial stuff. He talked about, mentioned that in one of his things in the interview. He talked about the tour schedule, about
Hmm.
maybe trying to tweak that, and how that is. So I'm guessing right away he's seen that it might not be sustainable with what they're doing now
Hmm.
versus what the cores wants and things like that. And he
Exactly.
even mentions that too. He said, if core members are saying something's wrong, and then core directors are saying something's wrong, and then the fans are saying something wrong, then
Then
that's when we need to
something's
make a
wrong.
change. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
he's being smart about it, like getting aspects of all sides of things, that if there does need to be a change, it needs to be collective across the board. Because Dan Potter does say, he talks about the whole progress of drum corps and how everyone gets, pissed off about it. Not Dan Potter's
Hmm.
words, but mine, right? I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to come to a front here in the next few years. Is there's going to be a big change. I don't know what that change is going to be, but it might be something that a lot of people might not like, but it might be better for
Well,
DCI as
that's
a whole.
that's one of those things. Just because it's the way it's always been done doesn't mean it's the way it needs to be done now.
Yeah.
Like when we talked about that, I'm on a fan committee at WKU for athletics, and they're wanting fan input on the fan game day experience, and they've got a range of people that have been season ticket holders longer than I've been alive, and then there's like down to people who are current students, and they kept bringing up things that we used to do at Western and the wish they would go back to doing. And it's like William says all the time, if you're not innovating and changing, you're getting left behind. And yeah, I like the way we did things the old way, but just because that's the way we used to do it or have always done it doesn't mean it's the way it needs to be done anymore. And it's just trying to convince those people that change is okay. Now, we're not saying that everything is going to be completely different, but and I think he even mentioned it in his interview, like when they changed to from G bugles to you know
Mm-hmm.
it was like a big rigmarole, and now people, other than a select few, don't even really care anymore.
I think
You
I
know, it's
think
just
what's
anytime
rough
there's
about that,
change.
and I'll
Go
let
ahead.
some other people talk, but I think what's rough about that is that the reason why change is so hard is because if you think about from a financial standpoint, who are the ones providing the funds for cores and other organizations to exist? And most of the time it's your alumni, right? Or
Yep.
alumni drum corps. And if they are upset about the change, how do it's hard to like convince those people because they're set in their ways that this change is the way it's supposed to be. And so like, you know, once some of these ones that are marching now or like in the last, 5-10 years, when they're starting able to, maintain a place where they can start donating, maybe we see that kind of drift away and become the minority voice, um, instead of the majority, which well not majority, but it seems like a good large chunk of a lot of people getting upset about traditions and things like that. So
Yeah, from from his standpoint, coming in from the outside, I think um, just for him, it's trying to fix those things as far as he doesn't know anything about the tradition, so for him, it's just like I just want to make sure this thing gets the proper
Mm-hmm.
recognition that it deserves of being the activity that it is.
Yeah, and
So
that's
how
I
can
kind of
go ahead.
was saying, while I was talking, I kind of read through. Uh, I don't know I don't know what you call this. This is like a summary
It's
or a
pretty much
transcript of
transcript.
the video, the transcript of the video.
Yeah.
yeah.
They
yeah.
something that I liked is his vision is to basically rooted in four pillars for him to want to get more folks involved in the arts in general. Then he says he wants to get more eyeballs on the marching arts. Um,
Yep.
he wants to um, continue the financial strength of the organization, and to find other forms of you know revenue for, I guess, just the organization, maybe other corps as well, probably. And he says here to provide a positive experience not only for the course but also to the participants.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that paragraph and I was like, I think that's major
Mm-hmm.
out
Well, I
of
mean,
all of
even in
this
the short period
because
of time that he's been there, he's already identified that those are the areas that needs the most focus,
and it
which
and it's true
I'm sure with Dan Atchison being there as well, kind of helping him realize those things too, I would say.
because you can attest this to like any kind of sports team that's tanking.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
my team is the Saints, and we did that. And what happened? Fans started to not show up at games. What happens then? You ain't got no money. What happens after that? Now you start seeing tickets and seats getting sold for like $10. Are you kidding me? You know how much I spent when I went to the Saints game?
Yeah.
So that stuff's important. So at some point, like if like can't remember which one of y'all was it might have been Zach. I don't know if Chris said this or not, but he said something about I I just lost my train of thought. Um I can't remember. I just lost my train of thought. But basically it's just one of those things like if people are continuing to say something, like it was Chris saying how if the course is saying something and then if the members are saying something and then if the fans are saying something, then a change needs to happen. And that's just like in the sports world all the time. You see stuff over social media all the time. I'm sure people get messages, calls, all kinds of things, and people are always complaining and saying, hey, this is a problem. And then when you don't listen, what happens? People stop showing up.
Mm-hmm.
People stop supporting.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing any drum corps needs is that. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have been in fear for a while that my scouts were going through that for a little bit
Oh, I
because
think they were 100%.
and that's a real thing because at some point it's like, what do we got to do to get back in the finals? What do we got to do because what is going on? What happened? There's a lot of what's, a lot of question marks and no exclamations that's explaining, and then there's not either enough change or the right change,
Yeah.
and then at some point fans start pulling back, and
Well, and
and
not
and
just fans, but potential members. Like you
members
look
as
at the
well.
situation that a core is in, you're like, I don't know if I want to go and audition there because
Exactly.
X, Y,
Even if
Z.
even if you're trying to
God,
feed yourself into a different group, you still don't want to go. You'd rather go to a group that, yeah, they may be at the bottom, but they're like talked about, or they're sneaking their way into finals or something. Basically,
hmm
they're on the rise. It's like the Colombians. If I was somebody, that'd be one of my first choice to tell somebody, go to the Colombians. That's a group that is on the rise and doing good things. Go to the Colts. Go to somebody here. Go to this group. Go to that group. Nobody's saying go to the Scout. So I was like, back then, I was like, so, I don't know what's going to happen, what needs to happen. So I really liked that paragraph, what he said. And I think, Zach, you've already touched on. Oh, no, he said he had an idea of maybe um, doing some little tiny things like opportunities, maybe doing some giveaways. Uh,
Yeah, because they kind of mentioned
with
he used to work, which is cool. I think
in
he
minor
worked
league
for like
baseball.
some
baseball.
AAA baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
And I thought that was kind of creative. I was like, you know what, maybe that could work. Start off with some, I don't know, small tickets, who knows, something like that. Is somebody who can get to an area, maybe, wouldn't have to fly or something like that. Or if you do need to fly, pay for the flight. I don't know. Uh, but I kind of highlighted, but I kind of liked that idea. So
Well,
hopefully they'll really look into that one.
something else that kind of stuck out to me was he's just flat out said he's like, I don't have to be able to do this activity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-mm.
need to choreograph. I don't
You
need
don't.
to write
You
somebody's
don't.
drill. He doesn't need to know that or how to
You
do
don't.
that because that's not what his job is at this point. Now, does he need to be familiar with those things?
Oh yeah,
Does he need to know how
and
the
he's already
pattern of the
doing
art
that.
works?
He's
Yes,
already doing that.
but as far as what they have, what I believe they brought him in to do is to fix this situation financially and like I mean, his four, like you said, his four pillars, boom, boom, boom. That's what they
Yeah.
brought him in to do. And those are
I
his
mean,
big
that just,
rocks.
I mean, I think we really, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but I mean, that's what we said why he was coming in. Like, you saw the experience that he had, the marketing background, um, working in a niche. He even talks about, I was like, man, we like knew who he was before we knew who he was. Because we're like, Warski Sports is a niche market, drum corps is a niche market. He literally says that in the interview. I was like, God, we're so good. Anyway, but like, you know, getting that perspective of what do we need to do to improve this. And like drum corps is that weird thing, like it's niche, but like he also mentions like whenever he took the job, how many people came out on his social media was like, oh hey, I used to march drum corps, or I have
Yeah.
someone that knows how to do it. So like the net is there. I mean, it's been going on, for what now? 51 years now. Is that what it is? About to be 52. Is that what it is now? Are we going to
I think so.
52? I think so, something like that. So like there are tons of people that have been in this experience, and now you've got all age, you've got sound sports, you've got a lot of things in there that like people are some way connected to this, and I think he's going to come in and try to tap into that base as much as he possibly can
Well,
from a marketing standpoint.
and he says he lives in downtown Indy, and that second weekend
Mm-hmm.
of August, he's like, you go outside and it's just overrun with people, band
Mhm.
people. He said he's like he used to. I guess he lives down by the military park, and he talked about the groups coming in and warming up and just seeing all that and seeing all the people like. So maybe he hasn't bought a ticket and went to Lucas Oil, but he is from living there knows what Indianapolis looks like during that weekend.
I mean, that town is like it's
It's
just.
owned twice a year.
That that poor
I've never
steak and
felt more
shake.
safe in a big city than when we go up there for DCI because I know that almost 90% of the people that are in that city at that time are there for drum corps. Like, I mean, it's
Just think
crazy.
about those poor Steak and Shake workers at that Steak and Shake that's just overrun all the time that
I don't
weekend.
understand why people just go. I understand. Like, I don't know. I guess I was in college too, and we went to Steak and Shake a lot. But like, y'all, there are some really good restaurants out there that Me and Sid ate at a really good one. We went up there that first night.
Hmm.
I don't know what it was called. It was good though. It was delicioso. It was like we literally walked out the hotel and it was like right there. We're like, oh okay, well, we'll go there. So
Um, and like you said, he's only been on the job for 60 days, and he's doing all the right things. He's not coming in trying to just completely take over stuff. He's asking a lot of questions, which he says, going into a new situation. He's taken a lot of his experiences from his being CEO of the water sports, and just carrying that over to here as far as like learning what the activity is. He said, the day before the interview, he had a conversation with one of the core directors about how do you design a show, like what's the steps and what's it all go through. And so he's really taken the time to be a student of the game.
Hmm.
So why he said he doesn't need to be able to be a choreographer or be able to drill writer or anything like that. He wants to at least be able to talk the lingo. So when he's talking to
Yep.
folks, he can
Mhm.
have a good conversation about what they're seeing and hearing. And I think that's very smart of him for that, for
I mean,
sure.
when you're a leader, in any job, any role that you're in, and you're new to it, the first thing you have to do is familiarize yourself with the situation and do a needs assessment, right? And what are the things that we need as an organization or whatever you're doing? What do we need to do to improve this? Or what are some things that people have been shouting from the rooftops for a long time that need to be improved, right? And we keep going back to those four pillars, but I mean, that's exactly what we see as the needs assessment. And like he walks in, he sees that happening, right? Like,
Hmm.
you know, more people involved in the sport, which I think we're on the roll with that, with sound sport becoming a part of it, and them bringing in all age now being part of the DCI umbrella. So getting more people involved in it that way. But then the big things of more eyeballs on
Hmm.
That's gonna be the
on the
hard one.
sport. Yes, see, and that's
That's gonna
that's
be
the
the
one
hard one.
thing. It was weird because he was talking about it. His second and third one kind of contradicted themselves. I think with you want more eyeballs on the sport, but then you want to have financial strength uh, with that. Which I know when saying that he's talking about like donations and getting sponsorships and things like that. But like it's one of those old adages you have to spend money and make money sometimes. So like getting more exposure is going to cost more money, but in turn, hopefully that helps get in more sponsorships and donations and things like that. But um, I mean the positive attitude, like the safety of core members, has been a big issue over the last several years, and so making sure all those things are being taken care of.
Hmm.
So like he went in and he did what he needed to do as a leader, and it's to figure out the needs of the organization. And I think at least by next year we're going to see some minor changes, and then I think within the next couple we're going to see a big change. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm just shooting out my mouth right now, but um, something's
If
going to
he
have to change.
can, if he can break into the non-band person world, he's gonna be a goat
I mean, you want
because
to be honest about it. I think it's drumline battle. I think that's your gateway for a lot of people. I don't know if he's going to throw money at that or not, but I think that's a good gateway for a lot of people into it. I don't know.
Because that would be that would be the icing on the cake, kind of somehow make it interesting to non-band folks
Mm-hmm.
to want to be engaged in it, to want to go watch it, not solely because they even know anybody, you know, because hell, I don't know like I know of players for the Saints, but I don't know nobody. But I'm gonna go to a game, kind of like that. You see what I'm saying? I don't know nobody at Cavaliers, but every time I watch that group, I want to go see them, kind of deal. So if
Yeah,
he can get,
that's kind of the thing about core. The superstars per se is the
mm-hmm,
staff. It's not the players. It's the staff.
mm-hmm,
You know, when we talked about it last year, it's like, oh my gosh, all of the old Cavies are coming back to run to design the show. Like,
mm-hmm,
you know, we talked about Scott Johnson, but I mean, and I'm in the drum corps, but like I'm not one of those people that like I know who the center snare for the Blue Devils is. You know,
Right.
mm-hmm.
I've never been, you know, been that guy. Um, so
And
that within itself is kind of tough, you know, because
exactly.
the thing about sports is we connect with the player. Most of the time, if we're fans of a team, is because
Player you like.
there's either a player that we like or somebody in our family was a fan of that team. So
Mm-hmm.
just by proxy, we're a fan of that team too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we learn to
Or
get
you're from the same city as the team.
yeah. Um, but with drum corps, yeah,
Yeah.
or you went to school there. Um, but drum corps doesn't. It has it to where you can like the core, but there's no connections to the players themselves because there's 150 players on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you might be able to point out, oh man, that's my favorite color guard girl. Watch her spin this 13. But like you don't know her name, you don't know where she's from, you don't know. There's no connection to that specific person. So you might like that person, but if you don't like the core or the show of the core, and that's the thing too, you can like the show and not like the core. Um, like there's layers
Mm-hmm.
to that connection. I'd be really interested to see because I think one a faction that we haven't really dealt with that could help change that a little bit is HBCUs.
But, dude, me and you are on the same page because I literally went to the HBCU showcase to see who ran it.
Hmm.
Me and said we're on fire right now.
Um, because they because I mean people like my cousin who works as a nurse, he will take the weekend off of the Battle of the Bands that happens in Atlanta. It usually happens in Atlanta. I don't know where it went this year, but like he'll take a weekend off to go. Like, he keeps wanting me to go. I'm like, dude, it's just January. We just got back in school. I can't take a weekend off. But like they are starting. I mean, were
They'll either
they
have to.
televised? Was that televised?
It was okay. So it was televised. It was live streamed on Peacock, January 13th.
They do live stream them.
Yeah. So this is what was really weird. Okay. Guess who was the sponsor? Because I literally was looking this up whenever we were all talking. Guess who was the one that sponsored the showcase? What organization?
Honda.
No, not. Sorry, the governing body. Sorry, let me tell you about that. The one that decided
Uh,
USA Track and Field.
huh.
So like, which is weird to me. It's,
But it's huge, and I don't
yeah,
think a lot of people realize how huge show band and HBCU bands are. They are the bridge, the connection. Why do you think Drumline Movie was based off of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going
yeah.
to be based off of the Blue Devils. So if DCI did something like that, it almost to a point where they would have to create a division for that. Now, crazy enough, people might go for that and that only. Who knows? I mean, they might do that with DCA, but that's still more eyes because at some point they'll look over the fence and look at the traditional style and say, "Oh, well, that's still cool. I'll stay and watch this, or I'll get connected to this." So that's an idea to possibly look into. Now,
I just think about like if there's a way to like do commercials to get the name out, like I don't I, I don't know how you would do this, but like
I
and
mean,
I
you
also think
could.
about like my first I think one of my first memories of drum corps was when it was on ESPN. Like even if we have to start like what if they just threw in DCI files into the when they do the Ocho takeover? How many people are going to stumble upon that and watch it, even though the Ocho is kind of like a parody kind of deal, you know? Like how many people might stumble upon drum corps when it's on the Ocho and be like, "This is a thing,"
Mhm.
and then be like, "Wait, when does this happen for real?" And then they look it up, you know? I don't know, or like
There's all kinds of way to sneak it in there
there's
like that.
yes, I don't
and
just
and that's the thing. You start with something, no matter how small it is or how weird it is or how off the charts it is or whatever, in order to create something else.
So I think what also this is what hurts DCI is that I'm glad it happens during the summer, but like it's not the when you think marching band, you think football season. I think that a lot of times I think can hurt because you're not, DCI. It's in summertime. August is the end, and everyone goes to college. I mean, that's what happens. But like, it'd be really cool if they were able to like have the Blue Devils or have whoever it is
do
or
like
Blue
a
Coats go to a
halftime.
halftime thing,
Hmm.
to try to get them like during the season when like people are involved with that. I
You
don't know.
won't
I feel
get a
like it's,
competition, you'll just get a performance.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like something to get people like, oh, that was really cool. What was that? That kind of stuff.
Well, and what a lot of people, I'm sure, who outside of the activity don't realize is like the all these NFL teams that have drum lines now and have
Hmm.
like the Ravens have their own band. Like I can guarantee you 90% of those groups are former DCI, WGI. Like
I'm about to say
I
not
bet
the
most
most percent
of
is it's all WGI
yeah,
because
like I
Rhythm
know
X
like
has one,
The
RCC has one, and
Bengals,
Mystique has
yes.
one.
Yes, the Bengals have all those Rhythm X people. The Titans have all the people from Mystique, I'm sure. And then RCC, who are they with?
I was say frame,
Um,
say frame.
yeah,
49ers? So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, like you've got those connections there, but it's kind of like the more show bandy. It's not the artsy side of it.
it's not because the artsy side is not going to attract those
No,
environments
no,
because you're at a football game. You're not there to
hmm
play 3 inches
exactly.
and do day crescendos and crescendos and stuff like that. No, you're there to draw a crowd, which they do,
Hmm.
and that's why I was like, well, if they brought in, show band style and all that, it would have to probably be his own division, or else they're going to rack their brains trying to change up the judging sheets now, which I doubt would ever happen. But that doesn't mean they should not do it just for whatever reason. So that's why I was like, if they did start some different division and let the show bands be a part of DCI now. Um, I don't know if that would work because, like I said, they do have their own thing. So would they be mad if DCI is trying to take that away from them? Or would we
Hmm.
partner with them? Say, hey, instead of us just starting our own thing, how about y'all connect with us, create some kind of contract? Who knows?
you're talking about
Um,
HBCUs.
yes.
Well, okay, man. I just went two different ways.
I
So,
pause for a second. I made the wrong mistake. I read the wrong article. I was reading about track and field for
uh,
HBCU. I just want to say that real quick. I negate everything I said about that. I feel like an idiot. Continue.
okay.
All right.
um. So okay. So HBCUs and then NFL their months. Okay. With the HBCU thing, if they did start another division, that would carry. But you might that could go either two ways. You could either go strictly HBCUs, or there are college marching bands that actually do compete.
Mm-hmm.
Because we watched a video that was like, that's basically drum corps.
Yeah, I mean, I would say give them an option.
But if there was a show band division, I think you would see a lot of these, which could be good for the HBCUs in turn because it gives them more exposure on a national stage too.
Do you know they do a ranking process for the bands too? HBCU.
Right.
It's like Division 1 and Division 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm just
like what?
I tell people all the time.
Go ahead, Will.
No, you got.
I was just saying, you know how they like at Grand Nationals they invite like different college bands to do exhibitions? Why don't they each year at DCI finals and semifinals invite, like an HBCU or a college band and let them like perform an exhibition or to kick off the evening or something like that, and then you've got those people. I don't know.
You slightly get that.
You can't. Yeah, you kind of get it, but not the way.
Yeah.
Not the way that BOA does it. Like BOA has a college group every night.
Yeah.
So another angle they could take before I forget about it. Basically, what if every NFL team sponsored a drum corps and had a home corps?
Had
like a home corps. Like, so like the 49ers has Blue Devils, even though there's a couple of, Santa Clara. Oh, actually, 49ers.
There's a bunch that each one can get their own individual.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody has their own drum corps, and they could kind of sponsor them. Because think about it. If an NFL, because there's 32 NFL teams, okay, there's more than 32 corps, but I mean,
there's enough. Everybody gets one.
Or your world class, and then
world class, but like if they had just a little extra backing from those corps, from those football teams, and now you might have to change names. I don't know how all of that stuff people would feel about that. But now you have this backing, and now maybe even the football teams can root for those. Be like, hey, you know what? Hey, the 49er drum corps is going to be playing at this contest tomorrow. They're fun at the football games. Let's go check them out. You might get some of that. I mean, I don't know. It'd be really interesting.
That could even lead into one of the issues that he even mentioned is the tour model. Mm-hmm. What if you just had all of your tour stops at NFL stadiums? Mm-hmm. If they're already got a hand in it, instead of having it at,
that contract would be so tight.
Because
the NFL gonna try to milk air.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they don't even have to worry about Super Bowl entertainment if they don't want to. Or you could have 2 seasons. You could have the straight up drum corps competitive season in the summer, like they always do.
Mm-hmm.
And during the football season, travel. So the football teams go head to head, let the corps go head to head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just thinking outside the box.
It's multiple opportunities and ideas.
But I think that almost hits all of your ideas. Like you're getting more eyes on it because you're connecting them with football, which is the king of entertainment. I mean, that's what everybody's doing on Sundays. So that if you can connect them to a football team, that gives that core a little bit more financial stability. Kind of moving forward with that stuff.
See, I really think that on the football thing, like I keep going back to drumline battle and just like, why can't at a halftime of an NFL game have drumline battle out on the field and like have like a whole thing and have like reactions and then like I don't know, I feel like drumline is the most accessible thing to people.
That one will be a little harder, but not impossible. I think what they will do is probably put it out in the courtyard, mezzanine, somewhere.
Yeah,
As they do the drum line, start it there, and then it could make its way to the field during halftime. But that is a possibility.
It have to
I
be
just
tele-
I was
it
just trying
needs
to
to
think
be
of like,
televised. Though.
Who?
yeah,
People like it needs to be televised. Like they can't skip it, so it can't be
Yeah.
like the football game where they don't show the bands at halftime or whatever. They need to show it. They need to show it.
I'm just
Usually,
thinking like,
I do know during regular season you're going to at least get some clip of the drum lines at some point. I know I've always seen Chargers line at maybe before a commercial or coming back from a commercial. I've got video of Titans line, uh, you know, so if they could figure out a spot to showcase them a little bit longer,
Yeah,
that would be even better.
because NBC with the Bayou Classic, Grambling versus Southern, they show the entire show. Like that's where I first learned about HBCUs, just watching that football game and watching the band. I remember I got a VHS recording of it from the '90s somewhere.
I actually
I
went
thought
to
it was so
Grambling
cool.
State games. That's like we literally went to those games, and they would battle like that. So,
And I think that's the idea that DCI have with the drumline battle. I think that's the premise that they wanted to kind of go with.
it's basically that because not a nanum is playing super clean.
The problem with that is it's the same problem with the NBA and the slam dunk contest. The ones that you want to see go head to head ain't doing it.
Ain't doing it.
That's the problem with the drumline battle. Like
because it's made up of the groups that aren't making it.
Yeah, we're tired of seeing 7th Regiment win it every year. Like when we know that they're better lined out there. No offense, no offense. But
hey, listen, that's facts.
Calgary Stampede.
What you said,
man, that's so good.
Get
about that one.
I'm still mad. And the year before that, Shadow was robbed. And the year before that, get out of here with your pool noodles and rubber ducks. Y'all ain't playing clean. Get out.
Jesus.
Mark it down.
42-30. Book and out running.
That goes off. And that was your Zach moment of. But yeah, there's a lot of different things. And I know that, and that's not one of those like I don't want people to listen like, yeah, those are great ideas. They should do that right now. That stuff, the things that we were talking about, will take a lot of time,
long,
a lot of conversation.
We'll be on episode 1200 something before that.
A lot of
comes out.
But I think it's possible because look at esports. Every NBA team has an esports team attached to it. The English Premier League in soccer has an E League. So like these are things that are possible, but we talk about thinking outside of the box a little bit. Like that's what we're talking about. Like we have to, be willing to. If you want the activity to grow, you have to be willing to do some stuff. And you're not selling your soul to the devil. You're just exposing people to something that they haven't been exposed to before. I think some people think if you decide to go one way or do something a different way that you're losing the identity of drum corps is. And I don't think so. I think
people have to.
Some of it, if you could walk through like during finals weekend, if you could go through Indianapolis and give out 200 free tickets and get people to go in that have never heard of that activity, I bet
that's what needs to happen.
I bet you half of them would come back the next year.
I totally agree.
I guarantee.
They would find.
I guarantee.
I remember it was my birthday because the premiere is always around my birthday in June, and I was in Chicago visiting my aunt, and my other aunt was with me, and they are older than I am, and they were like, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I was like, "Well, the premiere's tonight. Let's go." And they're like, "Okay, I don't really know what it is. It's marching band." I was like, "Well, it's drum corps, but." But
you're right.
You know what? They didn't know. They had been there to see me. They had been to my high school competitions and clap woohoo. But you know which one they remember? They remember Phantom Regiment. That was the year they did Romeo and Juliet or some, when they were in their storytelling zone. And every year when I talk about going to Indy for finals, they always ask, "Is that one group that I like going to be there?" Yep, sure are. They didn't know nothing about what was going on, but they knew they found one group that they
Yeah,
liked,
and that's all it takes with
and that's
court.
all it takes. That's all it takes.
So I think that when he talks about getting more eyes on it, I think that's what it means to him is how can we get people who are very close
Hmm.
to wanting to be a part or know about it? How can we just get their eyes on it a little bit
But
more?
that's hella smart to do. Like, I don't want to say a raffle, but just give away. It maybe not. I don't know if it needs to be 200, but 50 some odd
What
Ramsey.
if you
Give
sent?
them decent seats
What if
so
you sent?
you're not jipping them, and then
What if you sent every band program that attends Grand Nationals? What if you sent each one of those band programs a set of 10 seats for finals? Or, what if just think about getting kids to go and watch. I'm just thinking like just how do you get more
Well,
butts
also,
in the seats?
I think it's cool. I don't. You guys watch? I think a lot of hockey teams do this, but like the Preds will put like tickets in ice and put them all around Nashville for like
Hmm.
games. Like just like
that's the
marketing things
thing.
like that.
That's
Like
the
just
that's
And
go
No, I
ahead.
that's
was gonna
kind
say
of the
that's the
stuff.
thing because it's Nashville. That's what I meant to say.
Mhm.
Start in Indy because it's probably going to have
Mhm.
to start
Hmm.
with the hometown folks first because you're not going to really get people to fly for something like that, even if it's
No.
free,
Yeah.
Mhm.
especially for
Everybody
something that they don't know.
everybody in Indy should be there. Like
What you
everybody,
saying?
like the state of Indiana should be
Well, think
in
about
that
if you
stadium.
can if they can get however many thousand people to roll in for a preseason Colts
Mm-hmm.
game.
Hmm. Because if you started with those home based people and
Hmm.
then start marketing it and saying, "Hey, we gave these to these people here in Indy. If you would like to get a chance, blah blah blah, and you're from another state, you can I don't know enter for this or put your name down for whatever." But start marketing and saying, "Look, y'all, we've gotten these people in here. You know, you can do this now. Now, obviously, it's gonna suck for too far out of town people who may have to fly, whatever. But sometimes, man, if I know I can save on a ticket or something that probably would cost me a lot, and all I got to deal with is either the
Well, the
drive or the
the
hotel,
let's
something like that,
say $100 you don't have to spend on your ticket to get into finals is $100 you had to spend towards a hotel room or an
to
airplane
something
ticket.
else. Because
And because well, think about this for a second. There are no hotel sponsors for DCI. I don't think
Nope.
mm-hmm,
that would
mm-hmm.
be
That's what
that
blows my mind.
that would
Blows my
be
mind.
a really good chance for them to. So then you get a hotel sponsor or get an airline or a bus, like
Hmm.
Greyhound
Mm-hmm.
bus. Then you can attach them to that giveaway. Be like, hey, this is sponsored by blah blah blah. You can get 2 tickets, one night in Indy for blah blah blah. Like there's ways that you can go about doing
Because
this.
I'll tell you right now, if it's they're like, okay, I've been wanting to go to Circus LA for I don't know how many years. Let's say they're giving me a ticket and I get free hotel in New York. I'll buy my plane ticket because that's something different, right? So so I think it's one of those. The more less cost you can put in somebody's mind to go do something, the more somebody is more willing to do it.
That's also where like we talk about the tour schedule and stuff. Like that's where they can be clever with some like grassroots stuff with like, hey, we're like Murfreesboro or some Thursday night show in California or on the East Coast. Like you need to be pumping into these high schools or middle schools in those communities, trying to get these kids out there. Maybe you give out discounted tickets, like a block of them
I
for
don't know how all the
you
other
know,
shows are, but I know that Murfreesboro Nashville show,
yeah.
that is the crowd. It is bands. It is
Mhm.
high school bands that have just finished camp. They've all got their little show shirts on, and they come to watch DCI. They come to watch drum corps. Like, I don't know if it's just that area thing or if it's all of them, but like I do bringing up the tour schedule. I do think that is like, I think that might be priority number one. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means cutting out some of these shows that have two or three cores at them and
I
only
think I
doing
think we're
like
close to
regionals
Saturday only.
or Saturday only. Yeah.
I don't know about
I think we're
Saturday
close to that.
only, but I could
That's
see
gonna hurt.
weekends. I could see weekends
Well, yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Saturday, Sundays, or whatever.
or
Friday,
Friday,
Saturday,
or
Sunday,
Saturday,
maybe.
Sundays. Like
Yeah.
just group them together to where
Hmm.
they're only traveling. You're traveling to maybe a destination, and you can do two shows in a weekend. I mean, we see Saturday, Sunday shows or Friday, Saturday shows
Hmm.
all the time. But like
But
here's the pot of shows. Everybody's traveling this pot of shows. You can stay in one location, but you're within a 5 to 10 or 20 minute drive to all three of the locations,
Hmm.
and then because
because
the
that would
Texas
be the
was like
key.
that,
That would be the key is if it's a weekend thing, you get somebody to travel one time
hmm
and stay there till then
Hmm.
instead of travel here, perform,
Hmm.
pack, travel here, stay, rehearse, travel again, perform,
Hmm.
pack. Here's the weekend now. Now we perform. What? Because
Yeah.
that's rough. Because I
That's
went
a,
through that,
and that
and
could
I
be
mean, you're
like a
talking about
straight,
positive experience,
that could be a
positive.
straight schedule for every core. You have your Friday, Saturday, Sunday show or in some combination, and you always know Monday's a travel day, or Sunday night into
yeah,
Monday is travel time, and then you can stay at one location and rehearse Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
yeah.
and then if you
Because you
have to
by the time
travel
you get
again
there,
on Thursday or something, and then as the fan, what have they changed this week? It's not like, oh, what were they able to change in the 12 hours since the last
yeah.
time I saw them?
Yeah.
It's they've had 4 days. What can they do now? What have they done?
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
that right there could be. I do think that's the first. That's the big rock for me is the tour schedule because it's going to cut back on
I mean, that's
funds
staff and finance.
necessary,
Yeah. Hmm.
finances. It's going to cut back on the wear and tear on the core members as well,
That's gonna help
and the wear
fans
and tear
plan
on
too.
the equipment.
Yeah, I was just
That's gonna
about to
help
say,
fans plan
Yes,
the
yes.
best. So you
because
might get way better show outs now.
yeah, because you're not, I'm
Because
sorry,
now
I
my
love those
brain goes to
programs.
the weekend,
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not trying
Friday,
to
Saturday,
figure out how to
Sunday.
go to a
Yeah,
show on a Tuesday night and have to get up and teach in the morning. Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not driving to John Doe High School to watch Heat Wave and uh Encore and then get to see Blue Stars and that's it. No, I'm gonna wait till Saturday where I can see four open class groups and four world class groups at the same show and get my whole day money's worth versus going to some place in the middle of nowhere and getting to see one group that I really care about or something.
And it will also align with what the all age cores are doing because they are
Hmm.
basically
They will
being
only be on
weekend
the
warriors.
weekends.
I mean, I think I'm like reading between the lines, but like of what we're saying, like, and what he said in his interview of talking about traditions, evolution has to happen to enhance the fan experience. The four pillars that he brings out there, and he also mentions something about tour schedule. I think it's on the right track. That's his, like Zach was saying, that's his big move. I think is going to be changing that schedule to where it's a better experience for everybody. Uh, like you said, with the core, the members, financial stability for those areas, more eyeballs on the sport. So now you got a weekend instead of just like a random Tuesday event. Like that's now you can plan your whole weekend. People can travel now. That I'll have opportunities. A lot of people that can't go to world championships. Oh, here's a 3-day stint where I can just travel along with the groups if I wanted to,
Hmm.
and I can see all the cores that I want. Like stuff like that. I think that's just I think you're right that's going to happen. I
I
think
mean,
that's the big thing.
I'm completely fine with finals and stuff like that. How that's ran through,
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
4 days or something like that. That's fine. But regular season, they really, they really probably should look into that
Yeah.
weekend thing. I mean, that really actually would really be dope. and less stressful.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
like
Should we
if they
call
put
him?
it in,
I think we should.
like if they
Is
put it
there a
on
number on here?
weekends,
I
like
mean,
you
we've
could
given
have
them a lot of great ideas.
you
I'm
could
just
have
saying.
you could have
It's like,
zones
bro, I'm gonna send you this
weekends.
link real quick. I need you to watch it.
Mhm.
Hey, we might mess around and get a job at DCI. Like, how would you
Hey,
like to be our advisory
I
board?
am. I will move again.
Our
I
next
did.
episode, Will has a polo, has DCI on it. What happened?
What the hell happened?
You'd be like, hold on, guys. Dan
I just gotta
Plummer's
let you guys know
calling.
I have to pause my participation in on the back hash.
Yep. Mhm. Oh, dinner. Yes, we will have dinner. Yes. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna have to pull out of finals. I have a suite for prelims, semis, and finals. I will be announcing open class
Uh-oh.
finals, and having dinner with all the core directors. Thanks, bye. Like,
Take me with you. So, um,
so
but yeah,
many things.
I'm really interested. Just after listening to the interview, just interested to see what kind of steps he'll go. Like I said, it's and like what he said, it's going to take, you know, it's going to be a process. It's going to take a minute. You
Mm,
can't just go through and just flip DCI on its head. But
mm,
um, I think we may see some things in the next couple of years that we're kind of help going that direction. And I think it's cool that, like I said, that he's outside and he's thinking about it from that perspective because he's made it work in other places. So really, really excited. Um, so let us know if you've watched the interview. Let us know what you think, um, or if you have ideas or thoughts about what can he do, or what would you like to see him do to help bolster DCI. I don't, and that's the thing. I don't think DCI is in bad shape,
mm,
but I think they're getting ahead of it before it does get into that situation.
Because COVID was no joke,
No,
No.
and that's the ticket.
COVID's
Because
no
a
joke,
lot
and
of
inflation
businesses
is
are
real.
still hurting from that. Like it's
So,
wild. It's 4 years later.
well, I mean, we talk about it in the education field. It's going to take 10 years to get
Yeah,
back
decade.
to where we were because all of those young kids,
mm.
were affected by it. And so we're
Let's
having to go
see.
back.
In my building, our third grade class is the first class that wasn't in school and affected by COVID, I believe. It's either second or third grade.
That sounds about right.
That is the first group that has had a full regular school year without any COVID mandates or interruptions.
So, this society as a whole is relearning how to do things, and with some of that, some good things that come out of it. I've said this. Um, I've picked up some things over COVID teaching wise that I still use now.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't use that as an excuse to fall back on stuff. Like I actually made myself better. Um,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of we don't hear about it because squeaky door gets the oil. But I think a lot of people have come out of COVID with better skills and more things because they took that time to just think and to breathe and to be human.
I was about to say, I think mental health took a big focus. Like as we got out of COVID, a lot of people like mental health is something that we got to take care of, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to be a big thing throughout all stuff. And then bringing back DCI, think about safety and mental health. That's been a big
And they already
overarching
have plans for
theme.
that. Like there
Yeah.
are already
Mm-hmm.
plans and policies and
Mm-hmm.
things that are being developed in DCI and
Yep.
WGI to help deal with
Yeah,
not only the mental health capacity of it, but just the general safety
if
of the
they don't
Mm-hmm.
performers and
already, I
staff
would
members.
I would be shocked if not in the next couple of years, every core not only has like their physical therapists and their athletic trainers, but they have like a,
A
a
mental health
like a
coach.
mental health coach or therapist for the group for the summer.
I think it's coming
Mm-hmm.
because you're seeing it in schools.
Yep.
Yep.
And I always say schools are
And there may be a
microcosm of
couple
society.
cores who already have like a mental health team. I'd love to know who does. Um, because I'm sure there's some that might already have that.
but yeah, looking forward to it. So, next week we'll probably get back into the winter season. Lots of people announced shows this past weekend, so we'll have a turn to talk about that.
Everybody, it seemed like they did.
Yeah, just a bunch. So we got that going on. You can listen to us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So a lot of the places that you can find us. If you like looking at our faces, go to YouTube. Because
and Spotify.
And Spotify.
You watch video there.
Because we is sexy. So, but yeah. So, fellas, you got nothing else? This has been another episode of On the Backhand. It's been great discussion, man. It was a really good talk. Got me excited about what this dude's gonna do. So anyway, for all of us, to you guys, I'm Cedric. It's been Chris, Will, and Zach. I almost combined all of your names at the same time.
I heard it and I let it go.
Zerillium.
I was like, oh.
But y'all take care. Stay warm. Stay dry. And all that good stuff. We are.
Don't do bad things.
Out.
Out.
God dang it, Lions.